that's a move at NC State. Kevin Keatts 1 year after going on that miraculous run, winning 5 games in 5 days, getting all the way to the Final Four, beating Duke along the way. Kevin Keatts has been fired at NC State. Listen, he
fired
was on
or put in the portal.
ice. Yeah. However, they we kind of PC it now. Mutually parted ways or whatever we call it these days. But he's not going to be back at NC State, and they're going to be looking for a new coach. Justified in your mind? Obviously, they're going to have to pay him because they agreed to the new contract after the after the Final Four appearance. What do you make of the decision here by NC State?
I want to preface everything I want to say by saying I love Kevin Keatts as a human. He's like one of my favorite guys. Every time I see him, it's like it's the best. He's just a great guy. But here's my thing with NC State. If they don't go on a miraculous run and win, 10 games in a row at the end of last season, they're 16-15 last year. They were pretty good in 23, but it was like 23-11. Before that, 11-21, 14. Like NC State has these dreams of grandeur, and they always have. And it is very visibly, and they're probably going to hate me for saying this, it's very visibly the third school around there. Public university, they got little brother syndrome.
Depends on the year.
Big. Depends on the year. However, the thing is Boo Corrigan has never made a big hire. He hadn't hired a football coach, hadn't hired a basketball coach. This would be his first big splash that he would be making at NC State. Do I think Keatts did a good job enough this year? I would say no. I don't think he did a good. I think the firing is justified. I think coming off the heels of a Final Four run where last year was overwhelmingly mediocre. I mean, they went 9-11 in the conference season, in the regular season. And then this year you make it all the way to the Final Four and you're not able to gain some momentum. To me, if I were an AD, that would scare the hell out of me, because it's like, we just made a Final Four and we got some talent. We just didn't do anything with it. That would really scare me personally as an AD. So was it justified? He's won 20 games, 5-6 times in his tenure? Like NC State, like that's a program that's won a national championship. And I don't know how overly competitive that they've been relative to the dreams that institution has from a fan base perspective.
Yeah, go ahead, RC.
I'll say this. I think it was still 1 year too soon, only because, again, I know you can say they struggled and, rumors he was going to get fired coming into last year, but he did. Say what you want. They made the Final Four run. And we can't be dismissive that they made the tournament the year before as well. And to your point, Tio, that's part of it here. The expectations that they've had, the NC State, they want more, I guess. That's fair. But I think he's earned, after back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, he earned the right for at least another year. Now, this tells me they got the guy that they want. They can say what they want. I don't know if, whoever, they identified someone, and that person has agreed. And this is my opinion, and I, no inside news or whatever. But I think they've identified their guy. That guy has agreed. And when that guy said, yes, I'll take the job, then it was easy to say, hey, you know what, we're moving on. And I think that's more what this is about than Keatts having the year, whether you think it is. Whoever the next, they may wait on the announcement, but there's no doubt in my mind the phone calls were already made. That person, either he's still coaching or whatever they're doing, has already behind the scenes had some conversation and acknowledgement that he's taking his job. And I think once they identified their guy, they're like, all right, we can move on. And had they not gotten this, whoever this person is, then I think Keatts would be the head coach again. And then, whatever happens. But because you're still talking about a guy getting fired after back-to-back. It's not just the Final Four. They were in the tournament the year before that, too. So,
sure.
so you're talking about back-to-back Final Fours. How he got there, the miraculous run, blah, blah, blah. Like who cares? It's getting to the tournament. There's a lot of teams that would take that. And you're talking about in a league where how many teams in this league has been to back-to-back NCAA tournaments in the last, couple years? Like how many teams outside of the Duke, Virginia? I mean, Carolina hasn't been in the last 5. They've been in, one out, whatever. So I just thought he deserved another year, but it tells me whoever that next coach is, he's already, in my opinion, agreed to take the job. That's why they were so willing to write him a $7 million check and move on. Because if not, then you could have fired him last year for that matter.
Yeah. Well, here's another
Yeah,
thing too. You look like a few years before that. Sorry, John, but they were 11-21 and 21-22. They were better in 23, but like last season, they were right at 500 before that miracle run. And if Virginia decides to foul up 3, they don't make that run. And I know that's a lot of, whatever happens at ifs, ands, and buts. But at the same time, like it comes down to the point, like, is it better for the journey, or do you want that big bang at the end of the season? Do you want that 3 weeks at the end of the season? Because you have a basketball season for a school that loves hoop. NC State loves hoop. Are you going to be miserable for 4 months in order to be great for 3 weeks? Or do you want to be somewhat happy for the entire season? I mean, they'll always be, perpetually perturbed. But do you want to have a better season there? Uh-oh.
Yeah,
we're gonna see.
And I think the answer for them is they probably just want consistency. More consistency is the goal there. And by the way, quick housekeeping.
By the way,
Kevin
Keatts too. So he got $7 million out of this. Like,
oh yeah, he's fine.
I'm
not gonna.
Kevin's fine.
Many tears for him.
Kevin's fine. I'm not
gonna cry.
Care of his
guys. And he took care of his guys.
I mean, but would we expect anything less? No, we wouldn't.
No, I mean, but
he's
not from him, but he's a great guy. But yeah, he took care of his guys, so they should be taking. His assistants will have contracts too, and that's big in a situation like that because that's not always the case. A lot of coaches don't do that for their guys. So, I know Keatts is disappointed, but shout out to Keatts, man. For taking care of his guys.